Yeah, I saw you got excited about that yesterday. You love combing through that stuff.
I had a lot of good things to get excited about. I got the
Yeah.
administrative record on two different things. The travel ban 10949, I've got an updated administrative record for that. I've got a administrative record for the January 1st USCIS hold memo. We won a preliminary injunction against the December 2nd USCIS memo. It was a big day. Good day.
Right. Very cool. Yeah. If people don't know, they can connect to you just because, unlike a lot of lawyers, I have to say, you're very transparent in your information, Curtis. You produce a lot of this information. So you're a treasure trove of information to geeks like me that want to find out about, the DV lottery, because you'll publish all that stuff. It seems like you just make it available. How likely are you to win? I've got a number in mind. I wonder what your percentage number would be.
I've been saying this number, and people think I'm crazy for being too confident, but this win I got yesterday is not helping, because I'm just like, no, really, I'm right. And it's 85%. Now, this is the scope of
that. Your number is lower than mine, and that's unusual.
Oh, really? The scope of that is limited to judge finding these two holds unlawful and enjoining them as to plaintiffs. Where things get trickier is the relief that the judge gives, how accountable they hold the USCIS and the State Department to accelerate the adjudications for the victims. That gets trickier. And I think it depends somewhat on how mad the judge gets through the course of the litigation. If the government starts to gaslight the judge, then the judge is not going to forget that. Right. And so I think it depends upon what happens between now and when that order happens. And also with the judge's general demeanor and prerogative. Some judges try to give the administration the benefit of the doubt, and some judges are done with that.
Yeah, they used to a lot more than now. I mean, the 2020 cases and the 2021 cases, even Meta, who came down on our side in the end, he was very deferential to the government's positions all the time. Very careful to not instruct the government to behave a certain way. He was extremely deferential, in my opinion, but firm but fair, right?
Because in the Wynn case, which was the first DV case before mine in 2020, he found for the government and against the Wynn plaintiffs, right? And there was DV selectees challenging 10014, and he sided with the government. But then, by the time we brought our case, he realized they lied to him.
Right. So exactly. And so now there's been several more years of misbehavior, and there's been a solid year of completely crazy behavior by our government. Right. I think the courts now have lost patience. I think the SCOTUS ruling this week on tariffs is probably, the sort of the beginning of the end of the patience, in a sense, or perhaps it's not even the beginning of the end. But it clearly shows that everyone's, on the judicial side is fed up with Trump's behavior, and rightly so. I mean, it's bizarre what's going on. So I think that it feels like, I don't know whether you would agree, but it feels like there's more and more sort of anger from the judges and determination to just shut down, misbehavior, and that deference is gone to some extent, at least. Quite frankly, I mentioned earlier, I thought your number of 85% was low. I can't see how they can argue that this is, at all reasonable. I mean, it sort of certainly broke some rules of the APA, and I think you're right in that respect. But it's also getting to the point where it's unreasonable. When the pauses originally came out, I said to anyone that's prepared to listen to me, I felt that it was a temporary pause. I still believe it's a temporary pause, to be perfectly frank, but a temporary pause that would be taken away, but I didn't know when. But I did say at the time, 30 days, you can sort of understand, okay, somebody went crazy, the Portuguese guy went crazy. Okay, 30 days pause in order to check if we've got any loopholes. Okay, it's hard to say that that's not a reasonable thing to do. 60 days, starting to sort of, they're still in the sort of reasonable length, but 90 days or 90 days plus, I've always said I thought was an unreasonable length of time to do this review of policies, etc. I've always felt that would be difficult to justify as reasonable. And if it's unreasonable, therefore it can be attacked, right? And so, I still kind of feel that way. And so I feel, your case is probably, the lawsuits are probably going to trigger what I think would have happened anyway, which is the pauses being removed. But I think you probably, as pretty much every lawyer I've ever spoken to has said, no, I don't think they're going to remove the pauses. I think I'm probably the only person that thinks that they would remove the pauses unless they're sued, right? Without being sued, rather, I should say.
Right.
And therefore the lawsuits are necessary. And I'm absolutely delighted, frankly, to see the lawsuits happen. One of the things I want to see is, the lawsuits causing a PI. That's extremely good. And therefore the government not behaving so badly in the future because a judge went on record and gave the PI or gave eventually the judgment. Those things would be useful to avoid misbehavior in the future. Because let's face it, we all know the Trump administration, particularly if they don't get wiped out in the midterms, they're going to continue to misbehave wherever they can. And so, the lawsuits are useful from that point of view. So yeah, my assessment of your chances of success are higher than the 85% number that you've given there. All right. So can I just go back to the timeline and how things will work from here? So you've mentioned a couple of times, we've talked about a preliminary injunction. I think that probably needs some explaining. So what is a PI? What's a preliminary injunction?
Okay, so a normal lawsuit will take a year or two, sometimes longer. No DV has that kind of time. We've got till September 30th. So you need a vehicle, a tool to cut in line at the court. And you can do that. There's two vehicles: application for a temporary restraining order or a motion for preliminary injunction. Restraining order, extremely ambitious, difficult to satisfy unless somebody's going to get hurt. So we're going to go with a PI. The timeline for a PI is usually the briefing's done in about 30 days. And then the judge has to digest that briefing. And you got to realize they've got 100 other cases. So don't expect them to do it on a Tuesday night. It's going to take some time. So we're filing mid-March. A briefing will probably be done by the end of April. And I would hope and expect a hearing in May, or at least if the judge doesn't want to have a hearing because they understand the issues, they would get additional information for anything they don't understand and get that order by June. That is my hope and goal, a DV order by June. And a lot of people say, oh, that's still too late. And I hear you, but a June order on a DV case would be the earliest order ever.
Right.
If you go back to 2020 in the Wynn case, Jim Hackning's case, Judge Mehta said that May was too early, and he dismissed that lawsuit.
Yeah.
So
he said no harm has been done yet. What are you worried about?
So we're pushing the envelope by hoping for June, but we've got a new tool to do that with, and that is that good luck order. Now we can say, Judge, if you don't give relief now, it's not like you can give relief in September. It'll be too late.
Yeah, exactly.
So the order you described is extremely rare, where the judge just says one side's right, the other side's wrong, and walks away. Usually by the time the judge gets to that point, they are very specific about what they want to happen next. And they will, in their order that is accompanied with their opinion, adopt things from the prayer and our complaint that we're asking for. And sometimes, like the order from yesterday, they'll go above and beyond and say, also, I want to see that you did this, so why don't you give me a status report? Why don't we meet back here in court in person on your birthday?
Right. Has that happened, Curtis?
Yeah, I'll be in San Jose on my birthday next month, apparently. I found out last night. But that's okay. If my birthday means...
Yeah, it's a good present. Yeah, absolutely.
You won this court order. That's wonderful.
You have to let me know when you're here in San Jose. If you've got time, I'd love to meet you for a coffee or a lunch or something.
I'm not going to say my birthday because then I'll get like 100 messages on my birthday. And
no, but let me know. You can contact me. Just let me know when you're here. Okay, so that's a really good point, and I watched that happening in the 2020 cases as well. Mehta asked for status reports, and thereby he was managing the process. He wasn't appearing at an embassy and approving cases, but he was managing the process by numbers. He's saying, how many cases have you seen this week? How many cases have you approved this week? He'll want that information. And so, that's the answer to the people that have been arguing about that in the Telegram channels. How do I obtain more information on joining the lawsuit? So let's just go again on, I'll show your page. So you've got an onboarding page here, which is under your redeagleLaw.com website.
Right.
And you've got group lawsuit DV-26, right? So that link is in the YouTube description under my video, and people can come along here. By the way, very impressive. You've got an English version, which I presume is you, Curtis, but you also have all sorts of languages here, which is very impressive, Curtis. Well done. You
got to talk to people in language they can understand. So if you can do a favor for me, drop down to where it says register and register here, and click on that. And I want to show you that it actually takes you to a different website. And the reason is I took this case seriously.
DV pools, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so Amir, who worked with us back in the day, is now a consultant that does his own IT work, and he's done a great job. And he built this website out for us just for this one purpose.
Very cool. And why don't you say it, Curtis?
Sometimes we link to this directly, and sometimes we link to the other.
Right. So in terms of the question, how do you obtain more information? So this would be the way. You go to the Red Eagle Law page. You'll navigate through to this page. You get all sorts of information about, the cost to participate, and there's frequently asked questions on this page. I think it's on this. Yeah, still have questions, right? There's videos to watch, some of the videos in different languages. What more could people ask, right? I mean, you've done a very, very good. So this is your team, right? So all of these people are prepared to take questions in different languages as well.
Correct.
Very impressive, Curtis. I have to say, you do an amazing job in onboarding. You've got good at these cases. You can handle quite a lot of plaintiffs, right? You've got an ungodly amount of people in DV-2020. How many did you get on your group lawsuit?
Well, like the big case for DV-2020 was Kennedy, and it had 1,000 plaintiffs, but the 2021 was Good Luck, and somehow, and I still don't understand how we did this, it was 11,000 selectees, 23,000 plaintiffs total, which was, I think, maybe how many of the total visa applicants for DV 2021?
In 21, there weren't. I mean, I think it was probably 140,000. But yeah, you had
like 25% of them hired us, and part of it is
right.
These consular officers in Africa giving people our website.
Yeah,
they were like, okay, you're not being treated fairly. Here, go to this website.
In practical terms, from the plaintiff's point of view, does it matter how many people you handle or how many people are on the lawsuit? I mean, in practical terms, does that make any difference to them?
I think the more plaintiffs there are, the more likely we get the court's attention, and the judge, the clerks, everyone involved will be more careful to get it right.
Right.
So I like having lawsuits with multiple plaintiffs. But see, yesterday we won a PI motion that was amazing, and we had 2 plaintiffs. So you never know.
And you've had some other recent successes on various cases, actually. So you've been hitting pretty well recently.
Yeah, I don't know that the number of plaintiffs it's a factor, it's a nuance, but I can't tell if it's plus or minus. Things go both ways.
Just for everybody, Curtis is he's a bulldog, but he's very, very reasonable, very very available to all of you to talk to. He literally does make his time available and has done for several years. I've known Curtis since 2020. He makes himself available to answer questions, whether there's a lawsuit going on or not. He's always in the background, keeping an eye on DV lottery. So he's a fair man. He's interested in DV lottery. He's done very well for us in the past. And so, you can trust Curtis, to deal with you fairly. And I think people need to hear that, because lawyers, you know what they say about lawyers, right?
Well, it's true. And I just just want to thank you for all that you've done through the years in educating DVs, helping them understand a process that's not intuitive, that can be confusing. It's refreshing to me to have clients that come to me so knowledgeable in a space where the State Department's not giving them the knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you for all you do.
So people should, just last sort of plug for your website there, Red Eagle Law. That's where they can read about this lawsuit. I hope people do sign up and participate this week. Best of luck in that.